It's espresso time.
Espresso
More
time.
coffee to get me through the day.
Is it?
Yeah. So the tourist lady said to us, get a coffee if you want.
Yeah.
So we're going for a walking tour, aren't we, hon?
That's it. So we're gonna do a walking tour and
Look at all these cakes.
the yummy cakes. It's good. But what I'm interested in is like, look at this awesome church. Yeah. I'd have liked to go and sit in that church, babe. Can I go and see it later? No, thank you. This church looks really good. You have to go buy some tickets to enter it. Interesting. So we're about to go on the walking tour.
This is the old church.
I'm excited.
Cold weather.
Yeah.
The wind's picked up now.
Yeah, the wind's picked up, yeah. But my jacket's really good because I'm going to make it into cover my neck. As long as the neck is covered, you feel warm, isn't it?
So this is the group.
Yeah.
The yellow umbrella. Freedam Tours. Free walking tours. Who would have thought, eh?
Yeah, I know. That's really good. Really looking forward to it.
I love the style of Amsterdam.
Yeah.
The old style.
Hang on. I'll turn around. So Jazz can say hello. What were you saying, honey?
I was just saying I like all the cobble streets.
Yeah.
I like all the old style buildings.
Yeah.
It's got a real Victorian type thing. Is it
That's it.
Victorian, would you say?
Yeah, I think so.
Sort of, isn't
The
it?
lady would tell us.
Yeah, I mean the lady will say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really cool, isn't it? Like, really, it looks really nice.
Look at all the old buildings.
Yeah.
How they designed.
Yeah. Exactly. The awesome church. That church looks really nice. Yeah. Oh, she started.
Switch it off.
Cool.
See you in a minute.
So around 1200, there was a fishing village here. Now, just to give you historical context on 1200, okay, 1200 is like mid-Renaissance in the rest of Europe. Venice is trading with China at that point. Paris opened the world's first university in 1202, I believe. But the Dutch are still living on mud huts. Yes, a little bit behind this. But there's a legend about how Amsterdam began. The legend goes like this. That there was a man who was in trouble, Bishop of Utrecht, some people say he was, and he was on the run. So in order to escape, he ran away with one friend and his dog, and they jumped into a boat to escape. But they had a problem, which is that they didn't know how to sail. Don't know why they got in a boat, but nonetheless they did. They set out to sea, but they were lost. The storm was raging. They thought all hope was lost. So he did what all good priests would do, which is he got down on his knees and he started to pray. He started to pray to St. Nicholas. Does everyone know who St. Nicholas was? Yeah, St. Nicholas back then was the patron saint of children. So many years later, Coca-Cola gave him a red suit, basically. He became Father Christmas. Or Santa. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, anyway, for our story, he was the patron saint of children, but important for us, he was the patron saint of sailors. So they're lost at sea. They're saying, St. Nicholas, patron saint of sailors, please save us. Wherever we land, the first piece of dry land that we touch, we will build a chapel to you, St. Nicholas. So storm's raging, they think they're going to die, when suddenly the dog looks a bit green, he hops out of the boat and is sick. And they found their piece of dry land. Without the dog sick, it's a piece of dry land. And so that's where they built the chapel to St. Nicholas. This one. So this was originally founded in 1230. And so you probably don't think of Amsterdam as being very Catholic these days, which it isn't, obviously. But back then it was a very Catholic little town. And it became even more Catholic because in 1350, in this very church, a miracle happened. I don't use the word miracle lightly, by the way. I'm talking like bona fide, Vatican certified miracle here, because that's how it works, yes. The miracle also involves vomit. Vomit's a theme here in Amsterdam, clearly, still today, in the red light district. But yes, back then, lots and lots of vomit resulted in a miracle. And it meant that people from all over Europe start coming here to Amsterdam on pilgrimage. We're on the miracle map, basically. So by 1400, a third of the land in Amsterdam is religious ground, which is quite a lot. So at this point, the city's expanding. They decide to join the two sides of the River Amstel together, and they build a dam across the River Amstel. the Amsterdam. Amsterdam, yes. Yeah. I like it when someone's like, I've imparted wisdom now, yes. That'll be on the test at the end. Just so you all know. Yeah. Amsterdam. So, Amsterdam is here. Now, I mentioned the religious side of the city, but I also mentioned the sailors. So you've probably noticed by now that we're a port town. Yes, sailors are very important. And I don't mean to generalise, apologies if anyone's a sailor amongst you, but usually where you get sailors, you get prostitutes. Generally, yes. And prostitutes have been here since the very beginning as well. In fact, St. Nicholas was also the patron saint of prostitutes. They had a patron saint, yeah. So I get why he was sailors and prostitutes, but prostitutes and children?
Well, they have the babies, isn't it?
Absolutely true. Don't tell anyone. Anyway, the prostitutes weren't legal back then, like they are now, of course. But they were very much tolerated. They were tolerated for a very good reason. The city council thought, if we tolerate the girls in this area providing some services for the sailors, then it protects the good girls who live over there. Basically, these girls take one for the team, yeah, and the virgins over there are safe from all sailors here in the red light district. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, it became so important to do that our church of St. Nicholas became intrinsic in running the sex business here in Amsterdam.
Oh my God.
Some people not shocked, some people, yes, right. I'll explain how. So, being a sailor, being a sailor is dangerous, we all know this, but being a sailor in the Middle Ages, very, very, very dangerous, right, yes. You were out at sea for months or years at a time, and you had about a 50% chance of survival, so not very high. So, when you arrived back into Amsterdam dock, and that's where you got your paycheck, by the way, all you wanted to do after months and months at sea is spend that money on some beer and on some girls, yes, and that's very much what they did. But the problem is, if you spend a night in the red light district being rather debauched, and you're a Catholic, you go back out to sea, and you die, a sinner, you're going straight to hell, right? It's a bit of a problem, yes. But thankfully, the church had a solution for everybody, hooray, yes, exactly, yeah, the church said, don't worry guys, come to confession, we're willing to absolve you of all of your sins, just as long as you make a little contribution to the church, exactly, yes. It was called the sin tax, really that's what it was called, and it was a sliding scale, like 5 for one girl, 10 for 2 girls, 15 for a girl, extra 5 for a whiskey chaser, like that kind of thing, that is how it worked. So you see the little red door just there, number 23. That door was you went in that door, you went to confession, you paid your sin tax, and the priest wrote you out an absolution that you can fold up, pop in your pocket. You're safe to go out to sea, knowing you're not going to die a sinner. And look at the church, it's huge for a little area like the red light district. And you can particularly see the 2 towers here are made of different materials. Because this church, obviously not all of it's from 1213 anymore, it's grown up over time. And I like to say it's basically got big and fat and rich off of all the sinning that happens in the red light district. It actually got cleverer than this. This is how clever they became. So there were days that ships were coming into port where maybe the church was closed, or days when people were arriving very late at night, they needed to depart very early in the morning. Basically, the church was missing out on some valuable sin tax, right? So they said, don't worry, now, for just a little extra fee, you can not only come and confess your sins after you've committed them, you can come in before you've committed them. Nice. Yeah, basically you can come in and make yourself like a sin to-do list, I guess, the things you would like to do this evening. You can pay them off, you're good, you've got some sin credits to go out into the red light district with. Excellent.
That's disgusting.
So, yeah,
That's disgusting.
What would you do if you don't do them? You'd have to do it because you paid for it already. You'd be like, oh.
You get like a refund.
You just take your list to the girls in the windows and be like, this is my list. I am telling you this for a reason, by the way, apart from because it's really funny. Basically, Amsterdam has a business mentality. You may know that we now have a king and queen, but we never used to. We were always a republic. And so basically this was always a city of merchants and it was a city of business. And I really think that all the Dutch have a business mind. Okay, this is where I get to give you my impartial view on Dutch people. They've all got a bit of a business brain, really, because it's a city of merchants. And I would even go so far as to say that the tolerance that they're famous for here in Amsterdam, that they're not necessarily tolerant because of a higher moral ground. That's Swedish people, by the way. They're tolerant because it's good for business. Because if you only do business with people you like, people you agree with, there's less people to do business with, right? So I don't know about you, but when I think of tolerance in Amsterdam, I think about the girls in the windows in the bikinis, yes, and I think about the coffee shops. So you know the places you can buy marijuana here in Amsterdam. There's actually a really interesting correlation between the way they used to deal with religion and the way they deal with coffee shops today. It's okay, I like your skeptical faces. It's fine, because it means I get to prove it to you in a minute. It's totally okay. Cool. Right, so we can head off to our next stop so I can prove my theory to you. Just before we walk, I know you're all grown-ups, but please watch for the bikes. And then everyone in the red light district said, no, we're in the red light district, we love boobs. That's what we're all about, put them back. And they put them back.
Right in front of the church.
Right in front of the church. No one knows who they're by, there's lots of theories. My favourite theory is that they're the Queen's boobs, because she is a sculptor. So she's sort of done them in a mirror like that. You can believe that if you will. But cool, lovely, so grab your pick.
The tour's going well so far.
Yeah,
So we're going into
walking tour is brilliant.
Where are we going now? Red light
Yeah,
district.
if you're gonna do a walking tour, book it with Freedam.
Freedam Tours.
We'll link their website
Yeah.
underneath the description bar. But we're going to the red district and
We won't be able to film
You're
in
not
there.
allowed to film, obviously. So
Yeah, I don't want my phone getting thrown in the canal. Apparently that's happened.
that's it. So
So we'll film
this should be
after
fun.
that.
We'll film afterwards. Yay!
Yeah.
Bye.
To keep going outwards. Once they did this, there's no point in it being a gate anymore, so it becomes the weigh house. You come in with your goods off your ship, you weigh them here, then you know how much you can sell them for on the market. That's not that interesting. The interesting bit is the towers. So I don't know if you noticed as we were coming around the building, there's loads of towers all the way around the edge. These towers originally were the headquarters of a guild. Does everyone know what a guild is? It's like a union, sort of, but
Association.
like, if you want to be a stonemason, you have to be part of the stonemasons guild. In fact, we walked past the stonemasons tower, it was around there. We also walked past the artist tower, the writers tower, but the one I want to tell you about, the important one, is this one right here in the right-hand corner. That was the Doctors and Surgeons Guild. So you might be able to see above the door there's a bust and it says Theatrum Anatomicum, which is anatomical theatre for those with rusty Latin. Now, in the 15th, 16th, 17th centuries, they didn't have Netflix. Right, so to entertain themselves, they would come here to that little red door and they would pay just a little bit of money and they would go inside, up the stairs, and they would sit around in a big circle at the top. And in the middle of the circle was a table, and on the table was a corpse. Yes, a dead body from usually a prisoner from nearby. Yes. And then the doctors and surgeons would come and they would perform a live disectomy for your viewing pleasure. Lovely, yeah. Yeah, so I'm with you. I imagine that was kind of gross and it smelled pretty bad. Yeah, but nonetheless, it's how medical advances were made. So the doctors and surgeons were very proud of what they did. And they decided they wanted a picture done of their amazing exploits, you know, a painting to commemorate everything they did. But the painters were with us. The painters were like, none of the painters wanted to do it. They were all washing their hair that day. No one wanted in on the action. It actually took 5 months for them to find a painter to agree. He was a very young man. He was 25 years old. He was from Leiden, which is not so far away. And he agreed to take the commission. You've probably heard of this man because his name was Rembrandt van Rijn. Yes. And he painted his first famous picture in this tower. I've got a copy of it. But also, it's really what made Rembrandt. It put him on the map. Most artists are not famous in their lifetime, but Rembrandt was. He did very, very well. And I mean, I'm not an art historian, but we all know Rembrandt's a good painter, right? You've got the light that he's so famous for here, that kind of thing. But the other thing that Rembrandt did was he revolutionised group portraits. So, normally, until that time in the Netherlands, if you wanted your portrait done, you stood very still like this, and someone came along and painted your picture, and it wasn't very interesting. Rembrandt started doing groups. This is good for 2 reasons, actually. First of all, because it's more profitable, because everyone who's in this picture pays to be in this picture, apart from him, obviously. And second of all, it's more interesting. Rembrandt said he wanted to capture moments in time, and he did. You know, it's a fantastic picture. So green. Yeah. They listen to me.
Yeah, this building is massive.
nice because we've got some basic information
Yeah,
about everything, isn't
yeah,
it? So I've
definitely.
enjoyed that so far.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we just would have been out to restaurants. And
yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
but
yeah. Well, you
At least we're
wanna
seeing certain
you wanna
things.
know the history of the
Yeah,
town
yeah,
as
yeah.
well, innit?
Definitely.
100%.
So it's good to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
This building looks major.
This looks big. Yeah. The post office. Oh wow. That was apparently originally the post office.
I thought it was going to be like a palace or something.
Yeah,
All right.
that's amazing. Like it was
Just
that big.
it's just a post office.
Yeah.
So we made it, last stop. Well done, everybody. Normally I stand on the square itself, which is the other side of this building, but there's a fairground on it today. And I tried to stand there yesterday with the tour group. I couldn't hear it, like, this is impossible. So we're staying here on the step. I get to feel important by standing on the steps. So I'm nearly done. We've covered 1,000 years of history in 2 hours, which is pretty good going. Remember that dam I told you about that gave us our name, the dam on the River Amstel? That was here on Dam Square. So we've come right back round to the beginning. But there's one thing I think I haven't told you about yet, but I keep going on about, which is the monarchy. So let's finish up with a little bit of that. Because we got our monarchy really late, 1798. So Napoleon, you all know Napoleon Bonaparte? Short
Yeah.
French guy with a power complex? Yes, that guy, yeah.
Coffee if you're fine.
Yeah, it is, yeah, he's a nice guy. He's misunderstood. He starts raging around Europe, of course, and he occupies a lot of places, but including the Netherlands. And he decides to make his brother, Louis Bonaparte, the first king of the Netherlands. So Louis marches into town on his horse, and he rocks up and tries to find himself a royal palace. But the thing is, we hadn't had a monarchy until that point, so there weren't any palaces. There wasn't really a whole lot of choice for him at all. There's basically one big building in the whole town. It was this one. Yes. So this is now the royal palace, but I don't know about you, it's not the prettiest royal palace I've ever seen. Yeah, it doesn't have like big gates and, you know, guards
flashy-
and
the flashy
the
thing,
flashy things. Yeah, there's no dudes with furry hats on. Like, what is? But that is because it wasn't built as a royal palace originally. It was built as the town hall. It's actually during the Golden Age, it was like this giant town hall to say, look, we've got the biggest town hall in all of Europe. Look how rich and fantastic we are. But Louis took it over and he gave it an extreme home makeover, basically, and turned it into the royal palace. The inside is now very French architecture, French furniture, if that's your thing, then go and have a look. You have to pay unless you're a diplomat, and then you can go in for free. So go and get your diplomacy, and then you can go in.
Really grand, isn't it?
Yeah. So currently we're inside the post office,
Building, yeah.
and it's
It's a really grand building.
amazing, isn't it?
It's so grand, isn't it?
It's amazing,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like really well built and just like grand. So baby, what did you think about the tour?
The tour was really good.
Yeah.
Freedam Tours. I found them on TripAdvisor as well.
Yeah.
You can do free walking tours anywhere.
Yeah.
So booked it for free, and we just tipped her €10 each,
Yeah.
or like I think a bit more. And yeah, it was really good.
Cool.
She was so funny.
She was really good.
Funny. Gave us old information and new information. which
That's
was
it.
good.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just about the old history, it was about new history.
Yeah.
Like
So-
history being created.
So if you do come to Amsterdam, if you do a
Freedam
free
Tours.
walking tour, I look for a girl called Amy, and
Amy.
she's very good. So now we're about to head off back to our
Yep.
house and
Let's go
defrost
back.
because we're frozen.
Yeah, my
right?
hands are frozen. I can't
Yeah.
even feel them.
So we're
It
just
was
about to
quite cold
call
out there.
an Uber. Yeah?
Yeah, let's Uber it.
Let's Uber.
Baby,